Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Prison Architect, and indeed a new series. Today's beverage is a very nice tropical juice drink which contains things like apple, mandarin, mango, passion flower, pineapple, and apparently whatever was left in the juicer when they concocted this thing. Either way, welcome back to Prison Architect, and indeed a new DLC, a new update, and a new series. This is the recently released Jungle Pack DLC and the Jailhouse update, which adds in things like uniforms and ailments, as well as different rooms and textures, and improves some things like the scheduler and that sort of thing. This is episode 0 of a new series where we go through and quickly detail what has been added, chopped and changed, and hopefully improved, and discuss what these things may afford us when it comes to future builds. Fair warning, this is not a sponsored video. However, I was given access and a code to try this early, which I've done so, and well, with that said and done, let's jump in and see what has been added, chopped and changed. So the Jungle Pack DLC is naturally based on sort of jungle prison environment. We have a new uniform which we can see if we go to create new prison, and there it is. So we've got this sort of big bush hat there, and yeah, sort of khaki pants. It's easy to see once we're actually in the game, but yeah, new uniform, so all good. We do have another doggo as well, I think. Got new doggo? Toby. Oh, catching crooks is the joy for our sunshine boy. Very nice. So we also have tree exports. Has the idea of chopping down some trees become too mundane for you? Well, don't worry, you can now cut down fancy exotic trees. Yes, because we need to do more deforestation. We also have tropical fever. This is a new ailment which we'll brought into the prison via infected deliveries and visitors. It can spread like wildfire, so beware of stranger danger. Again, just what we needed. More things to worry about when it comes to infections. That I have tried in a couple of facilities. You can turn that on in old saves, by the way, so that's good to have that option. However, it is a bit of a nightmare to deal with. We now have a visitor reception, however, which sort of curbs it a bit. So when coming into the prison, visitors will head to this room first and will be checked by guards or doctors for traces of fever, whilst also being checked for contraband. So that should hopefully increase security in the facility, as well as stop, like I say, infected visitors coming in to have it spread in and around the facility. It's practically, it's just mandatory. There's no reason not to have it, so it's inexpensive and it just stops so much contraband. We now have a cinema, which is sometimes a TV screen just isn't big enough. For those of you who agree, we present you in a cinema room. Keep our prisoners entertained and calm with this room during their free time. Basically, it's like the TVs that are in the game, but it is massive, and also it can go outdoors, which is nice as well. We also have new flooring, walls, CCTV camera, a new clock, etc. That's all of the DLC stuff. I should point out as well, when you make the thing, you can turn off or on the tropical fever. So if you just want, say, the new uniforms and want to try the new rooms without having to deal with the fever, then you can do that, which it's good to have that option, certainly. In terms of the update, we've talked about the dogs, so that's in. Idle guards, it says we've made it so that now instead of having large numbers of guards idling within the delivery area, they now prioritise more important areas in the prison. So just slightly altered behaviour there. We've got new quick build materials, which would have been nice when I did the quick build series, but it's in there. The deployment schedule has been vastly improved. I never really got on with it previously, but it has been improved, so it's good. Rebalanced the identity thief, reputation and effects, and just a couple of other extras. So let's just jump in and I'll show you what some of this looks like in the game. So this is a previous facility that we made that's based on an island, and it has the weather on, so it's nice and sunny here. So not exactly tropical, but we have done a bit of a retrofit here. Firstly, this is our lovely cinema. So we have obviously the new textures, so we've got things like these flooring tiles here with sort of sticks and leaves on it, same as the middle here where we've got our cinema. If we go over to the flooring, we can go right down the bottom. We have weathered stone, which is this thing here. It is a very, very nice looking texture. I do like that. We also have the coloured stone tiles, which is Yeah, that is very bright and vibrant. It's going to give us some options to colour things up, certainly. We've also got the jungle path, which is just your standard dirt flooring there. So you've also got concrete moss as well, which I've not actually tried. So let me just try that while we're waiting for other things. And yeah, this is our projector screen. If we mouse over that, we can see the size of this thing is coming down to... it's actually all of this. So it is a fairly big a fairly big effect, that one. And ooh, yeah, we're gonna have to deal with that. Tropical fever middle stage, it says there. In order to stop that getting in, yeah, we see these alerts here to say that they've got tropical fever. In order to stop that coming in, we need to have things like this visitor reception, which we've got some doctors hanging around there. The visitors will come in. They'll go through the metal detector, so that'll detect any contraband, and then the doctors will check them over, so that's pretty handy. We can also see there's some new uniforms on the doctors there. We'll see about a guard. Have they got like a flat cap on? It seems to yeah, have that on there. Oh, here's the visitors coming in. So the visitors are coming in. They are being scanned, and oh, they are being turned away. So you are not allowed in here. And yep, there they go. They get back on the boat and they move on. Sadly, the ship's already sailed when it comes to the tropical fever. Oh, there we go. The cinema's working. I like the old school projector there with sort of like brass and wood. I imagine it being hand cranked. It's got that sort of explorer type of a feel, like Victorian explorer thing. Yeah, we can see, ooh, these prisoners are definitely in need of some treatment. And whoa, what's... Yeah, that they say they're getting a snack. I don't think they need a snack. Yeah, so what can we do with all of these prisoners like this? Well, what we have is an option for a new program, which is right at the bottom, and it is a tropical fever vaccine. Continuous treatment course designed to combat the notorious tropical fever. So we can start that up, and then, yeah, we can just keep adding and adding and adding if we need to. It is not terribly expensive, I don't think. It is 250 per session, and it's 10 places, and it's just one session required, led by a doctor in the infirmary. Session length is 2 hours. Each participant requires a medical bed. It is mandatory, and gang members can do it. So it's something that you want to activate sooner rather than later. Oh, there's the other flooring, and that is quite pretty. It's going to give a lot of options for the flooring. We can see that playing in the background there, and I think that's actually is that just this prison that it slowly pans around? I think it is. I think it... by the look of it, it's taking a screenshot and then panning it around. That's pretty good. In terms of some of the new stuff as well, we do have a camp bed, so it looks quite bad. But if we check this out here, it does say, is it in the bottom there? Yeah, it's comfier than it looks. Honest. Yes, apparently so. We also have a camp bed with net on it, so yeah, it's 500 generic units of currency for that, so quite expensive compared to the other beds there. However, it says must have in any tropical climate, provides a small amount of comfort and keeps the bugs away, so it prevents, like I say, people getting sick. And there is one of the examples of it, and I think it's kicking off. It's definitely kicking off. Is he fighting him? Hang on, the two guys with tropical fever fighting the one guy without it. Let's just move away from that. This is a new thing as well, a fire pit, and it does state that it keeps the bugs away as well. It says fire pit, stone structure that will produce light without any electricity, so free lighting, while also keeping the bugs away from your prisoners, wood fuel included. And yeah, we are just ignoring what's going on here, just for the sake of getting through this. We've also got things like a different sofa. We've got this sort of bamboo type bench as well. We've got some deck chairs. I mean, there's lots of options. Oh, CCTV camera that's camouflaged. I don't know why we would need that, but well, it exists, so you know that's nice, I guess. We also have a new type of utility. We now have a capacitor max plus, and basically it's a capacitor. This place runs off green energy, so we don't actually use them, but yeah, it's just a bigger, better capacitor. It just means that you're able to produce more energy. So maybe just one power plant for a fairly big facility. Who knows? We shall see how that one goes as well. As I said, we've talked about the cinema, we've talked about this here. I do like the flooring in there. In terms of the wall options as well, we've got 1, 2, 3 of them, and we say the walls, they are rusty fence with grass on it, and rusty fence with long grass. So no walls, but it, you know, it works with the wood, and you can also use like stone walls or wall rusty. There's plenty of options to do that, and also fence bamboo as well. Overgrown would be very nice. That'd probably be a nice combination with some of the new bits here as well. Deployment scheduler, we'll touch on that as well because, well, that looks very different. For a start, it looks very colourful. What you do is basically, yeah, you can just select a deployment time block. So we can say select block 9 and we want to say put it in, so these bits here. So that's all block 9, and then you can move this around and say, yeah, actually at these points we want armed guards in, say, there, and there, and then that means that they're only in that block at that particular time. So yeah, it's a lot easier to use than the old one, and hopefully something we can utilize. And yeah, okay, the takeaway from this is that basically you don't want tropical fever in the facility. Just turned on the most important thing, which is the new clock, which looks quite nice indeed, but obviously serves no other function other than well, the previous clock. We can tell the time, unless you don't know Roman numerals, in which case you're just going to have to guess. Okay, so we've touched on things like the cinema and the visitor reception, both which I think are just great additions. The for start, the visitor reception is just exceptionally useful, even if you've not got the jungle fever stuff on. It just means you can search prisoners and such. We've also got the cinema, which is just a much bigger, better version of just a TV, and having that being able to go outside is pretty cool. It would be nice if there was a non-jungle version of it, as in just like a cinema room, but it is what it is. The flooring is quite nice, and it's going to give us options and different themes. Obviously, we've touched a little bit on the uniforms. I mean, we can't really see much because of the armor that they've got on, but yeah, you can sort of get the idea. And obviously there's an added challenge with the whole tropical fever stuff. A new dog's always quite nice, as well as improvements to, well, just general bug fixes and patching, and hopefully that is a trend that will continue on. So what sort of things will this afford us? Well, naturally you're looking at you could go for a fairly big facility. Immediately my eyes drawn to things like the fencing, so having a medium or large map with a fairly big perimeter fence, and just using all of these old rusty fences, have it sort of half derelict with rusty walls or overgrown, have it sort of very organic. Obviously having to look out for things like the jungle fever and dealing with that, and going the opposite of the future stuff, so don't have any tracking, don't have any things like that, and then build around this sort of stone base. Yeah, it's going to open up some options, I think, for some building. And if it required additional challenges for things like dealing with the tropical fever. So overall, it seems to be a fairly decent little side grade. Certainly not mandatory, but also something that veterans may want to check out. Obviously, I'll be going through and doing a series on this one. Next episode will be the planning episode, where we go through and plan the facility. So by all means, let me know what you want to see for that one. And yay, we got a featherstone. And obviously, we'll be doing things like leaning into the whole jungle side of it. So we may look at weather and temperature, and maybe permanent summer, or maybe even things like derelict sort of looks. Don't know in terms of the capacity or what sort of prison we want to make in terms of the risk value, but that's all TBC. Overall, like what I see, and it does give us some more options. As I said, certainly the visitor reception is the way to go, and indeed the cinema is highly useful as well. Either way, hope this has been, if nothing else, just a little help out of what's been added and chopped and changed with the game. This is not exhaustive. There's obviously a couple of things that we've sort of skimmed over or just not touched entirely, but I think it's fairly representative of what you can see. As I said, this is not a sponsored video, but I was given early access and a key to try this thing out, and yeah, as always, links are in the description. So by all means, let me know what you think, and we'll see what happens in the upcoming series. Hope you have enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.